is a completely different thing from the Vitality series. We're finally into picks and bans though. We'll see if they do get to mix things up. As we load up ready, it's going to be the Olaf band started away and the Draven on the other side. So no surprises yet, but then comes the Bard.
Take out the Olaf. Maybe the Aurelia's left open if Caitlyn gets to play. Yeah, like it, you know. Get rid of these comfort champs. High performance from game 1.
Yeah, put them in the hot seat. It's game number 2. Splyce. You know, they've got one on the board. Can they take another and hand H2k their first proper loss?
All right, Splyce. Ban Vladimir here. You need to know, I hope that Rio realize that champion is too strong. Because they picked it up, I think, in 3rd pick and ban rotation total. So, Splyce picked it up on 2nd rotation blue side, I think. So, H2k kind of forwent it, but I think H2k have learned right now that they should just pick up the early Vladimir.
Yeah, well, Ryze is banned away, and that seems like the no-brainer play. Let's see if they take it. They've got
It's almost too easy right now.
You smelling a trap, Crepo?
Yeah. It's like, please, pick this Ryze. Pick this Vladimir. But it's Vladimir, so you pick it anyways.
Are you saying we're going to get to see some Anivia this game?
Oh yeah, that's like Splyce always does, but I think it's beatable. Like, you can't play around Anivia, Zyra. Worst case, you just pick Zyra, Vladimir yourself. There, done.
Well, there you go. Well, H2k definitely taking a lot of time to decide. Do they decide to go for that, or do they instead, you know, take a gander at the jungle pool, at the top pool? H2k have been prioritizing a little bit closer to those two.
I mean, if Rio's not well versed in the matchup, then that's a different thing. But then that's lack of preparation, right? Then you can't go through a ban phase and that Olaf should become a Vladimir.
Well, they've definitely got time to decide. You can see discussing back and forth. What are we going to do here? Are we going to grab the Vladimir as our first option? And as the timer ticks down, yes is the answer.
All right, it's going to be Zyra Ashton on the side of Splyce. Or is that too early? Maybe Vander doesn't really play Zyra. Maybe it's... Could be top tier jungle is still open. Nidalee could be there.
Yeah, Rek'Sai still available.
I want Trashy to play tanks. Gragas or Rek'Sai. Both are available, so technically he can wait.
Yeah, he's pretty much got either opening right now. So Splyce haven't really been thrown too far off the comfort zone. The Caitlyn ban away as well against Kabi, it kind of shows, even though it's still a very, very valuable pick in general, we're seeing it kind of be a specialization here in Europe, and I think it's actually almost a respect ban in that case. Speaking of tanks, though, we've got a pair of them there. The Braum comes in on top of the Gragas.
All right, that Braum's very peculiar. Did not expect that to come in here. Braum in teamfights can block a lot of Vladimir's damage because it's heavily projectile-based. Also, it offers additional lockdown. Generally, you hate using your main CC on a Vladimir because he'll pull out. So having Braum passive to trigger a potential pull and then having his ultimate maybe later on, twofold engage is really nice. But still, it means you're yielding pressure. Like Braum is risky to play sometimes because you yield the bot lane pressure to a dual ranged push, you know, and that means dual ranged push in the bottom, Vladimir push in the mid lane, that gives free reign for Jankos to perform in the jungle.
Well, always have to take the trade-offs. I don't know, Splyce, we'll have to see how they round out with their damage since they've only got a pair of tanks here, as H2k have decided to emphasize something a little bit different. So, you know, what happens when one side picks tanks? Well, you want to pick something that can bust down the door. The Trundle looks like it's ready to be locked, and we might see Freeze get to pick up his, a Jhin, rather, as the last seconds tick away. That will indeed be what they take.
Nope.
Ah, I got
bamboozled.
All right, we got an Ashe.
We got an Ashe. An Ashe is always nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Freeze has definitely had some good performances on it. In fact, you know, that last game, it was actually the first time H2k has actually lost when he's been on Ashe.
Nope. It's definitely a decent pickup, especially once Caitlyn falls. It is low mobility again, though, and Wunder and Trashy can both close the gap and kind of make Freeze's life a little miserable. But I think they want to more engage because Vladimir doesn't really bring any engage to the table. Also, their comp right now would be full backline dive, where Jhin is good to follow up. But if they're afraid of getting kited by this potential Anivia pick that's going to come out, I think the Ashe is a better pick because you just force her to play more defensively. Because Anivia, she plays at the front of the fight to then shut off the axis and kite. But if Anivia's gameplay patterns get ruined a lot by the turn of an arrow. So that may actually prompt
something different.
Splyce to put something different here. And they're going for full-on team fight right here, you know. Swain, Braum, Gragas is an incredibly beefy and annoying front line to deal with. Because you can deal with like tanks and beefiness. But like stuff like Swain, which regens constantly, and projectile redirection from the Braum shield, those are things that you have to factor in into every single thing you do, and that makes teamfights sometimes very hard to read.
Yeah, and Freeze is going to have to start shooting some serious bullseyes if he wants to hit a squishy target this game. That Ezreal, I feel like Kabi is not going to get touched a whole lot.
Hopefully.
In all honesty, if Splyce had been playing the Phalanx like they've really been able to, just sticking it all together. And let's see what H2k decide to round their composition out with on the other side. The Ashe Zyra is a very oppressive lane. Will H2k opt for it this time? They'll have a very squishy support, but that's a lot of damage.
We need to hold our horses here, by the way. It could easily be a Swain top.
Yeah, that's true.
That trundle, and it's still a Nivea mid, and I think they're actually going to go for that.
It's a wonder kind of champion.
Yeah. It's late, everyone. It's about...
Oh, there's options. We got flex picks.
Yeah.
All right, Kindred comes in for Yanko, so a little bit of aggression in his pocket, but also the Zyra pickup for Vander. Last rotation over to Splyce. We'll see if your prediction comes true there.
I think they're definitely considering it. They have the liberty to look at the top lane matchup here, see what it is. Go for a Gnar to counter the trundle in the side lane. I mean, he's giving the
Sports Scion
love.
again? Yeah.
Yeah. Swain into Vlad is a fine matchup. Swain does fine there.
Well, I think that might be what they decide on, but there's still always the hope of the good old Anivia to start coming back out again. Zenkuk's not his first time on the Swain, and it looks like now will be another time for him as the Gnar is locked in for Wonder trying his hand at that champion.
This is tough though. This kind of waltz over you comp. Kindred can buy a lot of time, and the disengaged power from Vander is huge this game.
Oh yeah, but if they do get caught, I mean, that's a lot more squishy than what Splyce are packing.
Yeah.
Look at that frontline wall. It'll be hard to break through that for sure.
It runs out of damage from behind though.
That's true.
If you get slightly ahead, it's so annoying to build with like play against 3 tanks and a Swain. You just that's when you do the mental FF.
I mean, but when you've got you've got a blue Ezreal build, if he does end up going that way, we've seen it kind of bounce back and forth in the last couple of weeks. You tag one person, and then the rest of the tanks, they literally somersault over you, and you're done. Slowly.
Yeah, but at the
done.
same time though, if Ryu gets a flank with Ghost flashes on Kobe, none of these guys can actually peel him that well. Like Braum can, but like if the damage is done, it's gonna be rough. So Kobe needs to be very careful in the backline here.
All right, well, all eyes on him. This time wasn't touched. Last game as Yamato Cannon probably shaking hands, getting ready to get into game number 2. It's certainly been a surprising day already, but we think there might even be a couple more. Now, if you guys think that H2k will manage to get one more win back on the books, hit us up. Hashtag H2K win at LoL eSports, or if Splyce will hand them their first full loss this split. Hashtag SPY win. They've already shown that their ceiling is a little higher than anyone imagined. Let's see if they're going to be able to pull it off again. I can't wait.
Me neither. Moderate excitement though.
Neither can that crowd. These guys are awesome.
Hype, yeah.
Sticking with us after that real long game. No exhaustion. I love it. And we get into game number 2 here. Last game of the day. H2k Splyce on the Rift. Here we go.
Some nice all chat. Yanko's writes, good luck, have fun, enjoy the game. Smiley. That's beautiful.
I do love good manners in games.
Here in the US? Yeah. It's like
That's what I get every game. What about you?
yeah, same.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there's definitely not any higher low players trying to trigger me all the time. No.
If you ever need someone to talk to.
Nah. Then we cheese them. Then we cheese them. We put a magical journey next to their lane, and suddenly we take their LP. Anyways, Trashy on the ward.
Yeah, he's spotted here, and Splyce have actually gone to opt for an invade here. Wonder leading the charge, and Odo's going to have to back out.
They need to dodge this matchup. Like, if Splyce end up playing 2v2, yeah, they're just royally screwed at that point. You don't win that matchup. Zyra's lane patterns is one of the most oppressive and easily executable ones in the game. She gets free seeds like from level 1, so which means from starting with Q, she can start spamming those plants out. Really need to see if Vander and Freezy are going to reveal. The ultimate play would be walk over the ward and base to the other side of the map. But they can arrive late. They can arrive a level down to the lane and still win it. That's how oppressive this lane is.
Yeah, they're spotted. Going to be taking the walk, but now that is indicated, Kabi and Mickey X have some time to move down bot. Taking a look, nothing too different that we've seen on those masteries.
I don't like the approach here from H2k. Going over just some really obvious ward spots. Then you better go for the double mine game where you walk over the ward and you base in the little brush above tier 1 to find that bot, because this lane swap is exactly what Splyce was looking for.
Yeah, too advanced to the mind games for H2k though, and trying to go back to those basics. Odawamne sees Kabi spot him there, and the junglers are actually, rather, Yankos is getting a little bit of harassment dealt straight to him. Mickey X doesn't quite return as much damage, but Kabi is more than happy to 1v1 Odawamne, who's got nothing on him to start this.
One more auto, and then he could consider going for the auto flash.
All right, well, we could be in for another very early action game as everyone's favorite dragon spawned on the Rift, but we don't need to worry about that just yet. Ryu is able to dodge from Mickey X, but he's had to burn Ghost already to start this off. Splyce are actually doing a fantastic job of trying to put H2k on the back foot. We will eventually, however, settle in to the good old 3v3 fast push.
Yeah, both teleports are being used here from the top laners. When a lane swap generates itself like this, you really need to teleport to the lane. You can't walk because you fall too far behind in tempo. Definitely the right move by both these teams here.
Oh, yeah.
Inefficient lane swap though, because the minions aren't being tanked optimally here by Splyce. We're nitpicking. Zyra, the worst part about this champion is like you can't lane against it, so you want to lane swap. But she is so good at lane swaps too because her plants take tower aggro and she can AoE creep so easily. So H2k already doing a much faster tower clear, which will propel Odawamne ahead and keep him ahead of the curve here in this Gnar matchup. So this is great still for H2k. That's all kind of because of this bot lane pick.
All right.
Because look at how slow this tower is going down for Splyce despite initiating the lane swap. They actually have horrible, well, inefficient lane swap champs compared to what H2k brings to the table. So you see if Wunder gets the bad end of this stick later on.
Yeah, so the junglers are really the ones who are trying to do a little bit more to each other. It's been a very harassy kind of starting phase that ended up just turning into the trades, but Vander comes to the rescue here, and that red buff is going to be fine. But all the same, you know, H2k, a little bit of a number advantage to start things off, and now the Ashe Zyra lane can continue to go back being oppressive. Both AD carries with the Coles right now, but you can see Splyce still trying to dodge that matchup. Senkux moves in onto Ryu and trades back on him. Another matchup with a lot of sustain available. Jankos flashing in, and that's going to have to force the flash into Senkux. Is he even going to get away? One more auto. Jankos first blood again.
Oh, another good first blood. Kindred did so much early game damage. Level 4 with red buff. It's such an annoying gank if you allow her to close the gap, because then she can just flash after you and a ton of damage. Ryu with a good reactive flash there too, and now H2k, they're in a really good spot in this game.
Oh yeah, so that's a good start for them. You can see Freeze and Vander having a grand old time on that bottom, completely unopposed. There's wards in the back, but no teleports to be able to flank. Senkux already had to burn his to get back to mid. Wunder and of course Odawamne had already traded on the earlier swap, but Splyce, you know, again on the back foot. This happened last game, but without the swap.
Yeah, and we saw right there, 3 plants spawned by Vander. And plus AoE and creeps. That's 3 tower shots. That means your melees, they survive like 4 extra seconds.
It's just disgusting, Crepo. Let's take a look at this again with the first blood. Yeah. Senkux.
It actually flashes in aggressively and then it's Ryu's flash to trail.
Oh yeah.
That's really good awareness and just like math from Jankos. He knew he had him right there. And the late flash from Senkux.
Way too late to really stop anything from happening, so Senkux put a little bit further on the back burner as the reverse swap comes in.
Yeah, I was wondering, Jankos, he was pathing down the Krugs. Why doesn't he immediately go for Infernal? He realizes that too. He loses a couple of valuable seconds.
There's no answer responsible though. I mean, or available though. Splyce are way too stacked up on the top side with the turret trade. Yep. So H2k are real happy with this now with the first Infernal Drake.
Yep, Infernal is the best dragon you want after like a lane swap lead in terms of tempo. Maybe Mountain if you're this comp though, because this H2k lineup can blitz through a Baron. And by the time Dragon is kind of done, that's when H2k only get matched in terms of tower by Splyce here. So this is really good for H2k lineup.
Yeah, 500, 600 gold lead right now. They have the Infernal Drake in their pocket, so this game is already starting off a lot better than how their last game ended. But H2k still got a long way to go if they want to complete this series on a positive note. Just have to see, keeping eyes, especially on the solo laners this game, because they had such a rough time last time around. Odawamne was unable to really capitalize on, you know, people keying off on the rest of the members and being all alone trying to knock down towers on the Gnar. This time he's on a Trundle. As the game goes on, should help him out. But Ryu on this Vlad, you know, be curious to see what he makes of it. They did hesitate a lot on taking that pick, and Vander gets the cheeky steal away of the Scuttle Crab. Trashy
spent like what felt like ages doing that Scuttle Crab, and then he gets taken away by one auto attack from the support. Yeah, that's good. That's the mental war game we need more. You know, sometimes it's not about the Scuttle Crab; it's about the tilt.
Sending the message, and the message is, "Ha! I got 70 gold, and you didn't." Ryu though, he's caught by the never move.
Yeah, Sprain running out of mana.
Too many, but yeah, Senkux can't really punish him hard enough just yet.
Yeah, pre Catalyst, you can't win this matchup. You can only play it even up until the point where either you base or Vladimir gets bored.
How often does Vladimir get bored?
Never.
Okay, good. As long as there's blood to drain. Jankos, he's moving up towards the top side. The teams are still trying to eagerly trade these towers and get a little bit of early gold and try to deny out or at least stop the early game skirmishes of the junglers from really being super effective here. Vander gets the plants onto Wunder, zoning the minions away. This gives them more time on the tower, unopposed here. Kabi and Mickey X are pushing Otoamne off the back of it, but Trashy, he's roaming around the side. He's got a big barrel and he uses it, but that's mostly just to clear it. It doesn't matter, they've got it.
The only thing he's doing right now is stealing CS from his top laner. Trashy. I see that trick. It's like, but I'm just helping wave clear, you know?
Yeah, they call that taxing.
That was the dirtiest tax I've seen in a while. God damn it, Trashy.
Wunder won't be happy with him, that's for sure. Let's take a look back at this mid. Senkux, and with Vander, he's gonna get some help here, but Ryu real low, and Senkux will go down, and Ryu, surprise, I'm Vlad. I can heal it all back up.
Guess what, Trashy? If only you had your ultimate right now to help in mid lane, but you had to tax 10 creeps, hadn't you? That was a really beautiful flash from Vander, though. The follow-up here, double plant into Senkux, whose flash was still on cooldown at the time because of that earlier play, so really good awareness of timers too. And honestly, an opportunity not many people would have seen there for H2k, and they capitalize.
Oh yeah, so extending this gold lead now for themselves. A little over 1,000. They've got the first dragon. You talked about Mountain being something they might want as well. Well, that's going to be the next one. It's still several minutes away, but you know, right now, barring them making any big mistakes, they're in a very happy position.
I mean, watch this again. Ryu turns this fight around. Vander flash, double plant into E-spawn, which slows, and then Ryu just gets the pull underneath of Trashy. Trashy doesn't connect anything. If he had ult, he could have knocked him into the tower maybe or finished off Vander, but ironically, you just used that in the top lane.
Yeah.
So H2k walking away with 0 deaths and a kill there.
Well, I think we answered the question, is Ryu comfortable in the Vlad matchup? And that answer is a resounding yes. When you can go right up into tower range and pull when you're on about 50 health. Yeah, okay, I'm good. And he definitely had a lot of trust in Vander, though.
Yeah, I need to see how he plays it in teamfights. Versus a heavy tank line, Vladimir is different to play. You really need to buy your time and choose your time when to flash in, but you can kind of poke them out here. Vladimir is really good at playing, honestly, into a big tank line, because just continuously EQ spamming until you see the opportunity, and then you just flash on the 80 carry. He's so used to having all the zone in front of him that he becomes a little bit overbearing, overzealous, and then you need to punish if you're Ryu.
And Ryu does try to trade a little bit with Senkux, who actually gets the better of him here, and Trashy, he's moving around towards this top side. So, never a moment's rest to try and siege down those towers. It's still 3-2-3 as we've had the trades back and forth. But they aren't able to knock them down for now, so 3 Splyce members trying to create themselves a little death brush here and see if any H2k members wandering by. Not going to happen for now. Ward up by Jankos, not in the brush, but it was close enough to see if they moved on out of it. They will be able to defend here. 10 minutes into the game, we've already had a lot of back and forth trades, but only 2 kills. They've been to H2k.
And Kabe wants Senkux to move to a side lane, but he's not ready for that yet. Map opened up a lot, and Splyce is behind. So he needs to farm on a side lane, but ideally in the future, Splyce play 1-3-1 with 3 in the mid.
Yeah, I think that seems pretty reasonable. Still trying to buy a lot of time for some of these power spikes to start happening. Senkux, he's got his catalyst, but he needs to work a little bit further towards some of the damage that he's looking to put out here. Still very early on in this game, but another Mountain Drake will be coming up in about a minute. And the dual lanes are both up in the top side. And this, of course, is Kabi and Mickey's worst nightmare, but they do have Trashy around. Unfortunately, Jankos is also there.
Yeah, Jankos is not looking for a gank. He's more pathing secure here, like escort duty. Just making sure his bot lane is safe, doesn't not walk into the brush.
I'll get a mark out of it too.
Take the Scuttle Crab, you know, on the way, and then path towards the dragon. You look at the next objective here.
Yeah, Splyce, there's not really been able to do anything here. The H2k that was presenting big weaknesses hasn't shown itself again just yet. In comes the Ash Arrow. It's dodged out by Senkux, but that is still enough time to get some damage on the tower, and they've zoned him off.
This kind of goes against what we were just talking about, how H2k is like super smart planning for the next objective. Clearly they weren't, because then you wouldn't use this Ash Arrow here. You would path to the dragon, de-ward it, and then use it defensively when people are face checking, and it's a guaranteed arrow hit. So not the biggest fan personally of that play. I think moving over to go for a contest with Zyra and Ashe aggressively defending choke points, Splyce will not enter. Like, they shall not pass, and then you have a free Mountain Drake. So I think that's a bit of a strategic mistake from H2k.
Well, so Splyce have some breathing room here. With everyone from H2k going back, it just resets the map for a brief moment. A lot of vision invested by H2k up towards that top side, but pushing out minion waves where Kabi and Mickey and Senkux trying to do the same thing. So H2k needs some time before they can move towards this dragon. Now pinging it out still, but yeah, they gave up a big opportunity.
Yeah, but now Splyce can move in and at least get some vision. Maybe slow down the fight. They need to look for like a pick. Somebody on the outskirts, stuck in the setup phase. To be very careful of the counter engage here. Or just the arrow coming out once it's off cooldown.
Well, they can send Suncook's up topside because he's still rocking that teleport versus what Ryu has. And, you know, the double teleport advantage is not something you can totally underestimate. Last game, they made a very, very confident use of it.
H2k solved that problem by sending Ryu to the bot lane, which is in close proximity to the next objective. If you're playing 1 TP versus 2 TP, you always want to make the designated side lane player closer to your objective. So later on, they obviously want one of the TPs in the bottom lane if you're H2k.
I love what Jankos is doing. He looks to go in, and then he sees, oh, Wonder's about to Mega Nart. We'll just wait until it runs out. Jump on him. You can see Ryu hanging just in the outskirts here. It's the long setup. Wonder goes back into Mini. In comes Jankos. In comes Ryu. Instantly Wonder having to flash away, but he's Hemo-plagued, and he is out of there.
And it just shows you that Splyce is so far behind because it's only spelling like the 1,500 gold. But in this entire setup phase where Jankos was literally doing nothing that's sitting in a brush, there is still no cross-map play available for Splyce. They don't have anything to counter with, despite Jankos sitting there for absolutely ages and then going for a play in full vision afterwards. So Trashy is lost. He's passed from left to right a couple of times now, but he's not finding any opening. Yeah,
but H2k have found openings. On this bottom side, Ryu's able to herd a wave of minions all the way into that bottom tower. Wonder respawns, but he doesn't use his teleport, so there's a serious amount of chip damage going on. 14 minutes into this game, a lot of objectives traded, but H2k having the advantage. They have the map control down towards the bottom. That's a big Tides of Blood. Jankos is pretty much able to solo the Mountain Drake.
Yep. Kindred can definitely do that. And now Mickey is also on a champion that console influence engages his heart, and he's stuck in a lane swap, which is even worse because supports under-leveled have a harder time making these engages.
Banning that bar was a good decision. H2k, you know, we're close to 15 minutes on the game. They've got a 2,500 gold lead. They've got two very essential Drakes, Infernal, Mountain. They're happy.
Yeah.
After the performance last game. Not enough. Vander, real quick respect flash. Gotta do that.
Gotta do it. Even if Trashy doesn't go for it, you still made the right play 80% of the time.
And the other 20%, I think you can be forgiven.
Yeah, because you got mind game, and that's fine. If the Gragas E's in and you flash, he mind game it better. But like if you flash his E flash, like which happens more often, you made the superior reactionary play.
So Vander stops himself from getting popped. Jankos, he has a lot of power in his pocket right now with the 2 kills he picked up early on in this game, or the one we just saw a few moments ago too. But still, a Kindred. Maybe not as valuable as getting the Ashe fed right now, but still, it's a very early on in this game. I mean, what does H2k really want to prioritize their gold onto?
Yeah, pile it into some of these carries. Maybe we may even see Jankos path down his bot lane here, pick up some more farm. Freeze and Ryu are doing like tag team, sharing a wave in the mid lane. But it's likely just going to be Ryu to the bot catching this wave. We need some vision right side here if you're H2k. Playing to at least secure the Vladimir a tiny bit. However, the area of the map that they want to secure is left side for later on. It's debatable. Either you make a Herald play, which you can, or you make a very early setup for Baron that you then keep refreshing. Both options here. Likely they're just looking for a pick, so we probably see another arrow fly soon.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options here. And as you call it, Kabi.
I hate these arrows.
Raises right by his ear.
It's like, what are you going to do? Like, even if they hit, it's not going to work. Wait for the siege. Arrow here. Boom.
All right, well, they still brought the minions to the tower.
Teleport left
side. Got the plants on. Teleport, double teleport coming in here. H2k might have bitten off more than they can chew, but they do put up a pillar. Wonder has to walk around it. And they don't get punished for it just yet. Sencook's around the side. He actually takes a lot more. 3-man Hemo, and Ryu is running wild, looking to polish that Sencook's. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, Jankos pinballed around as Wonder picks up the revenge kill. It's a 1-for-1, and they're still going strong.
Oh, that's some really good plays here. The fact that Jankos got pinballed out of his own ultimate was good, but Ryu with a massive and beautiful flash there into proc enough damage for then Hemo Plague to kill off the Sencook Swain right after. And we saw the struggle Splyce had with engaging, though, if H2k have vision. Disengage from Zyra and Trundle is so potent because you just slow down everything on the front and then you re-engage. But Ryu, what a beautiful play with that Vladimir.
Oh yeah, he came up real big. Vander had a awesome Stranglethorn to zone everyone right away, and they managed to get a lot of damage out on the back of it. So it actually ended up being 1 for 2 with Wonder going down at the end. But really and crucially, the tower as well for H2k. They continue to move this lead forward. Let's see the flank again.
Yeah, so it's a double TP, one we didn't notice from below. And that's the one that's going to jump onto Freeze here. Freeze has to flash in. Ryu comes for the zone. Good side step from Freeze. And then right here, Ryu turns around. 3-man ulti. They step up into the backline. Vander's keeping Jankos busy. Let's watch what happens to Jankos. Yep. Gets pulled out. It feels like the damage up for that keg applies at the end. Or maybe it was just some trailing damage, because something hit Jankos once he was out of his ultimate. I'm pretty sure Gragas Cask actually applied at the start of it, so it must have been the body slam finishing him off.
Decisive though for H2k. You know, they were the ones who were trying to siege, but they counter-engaged. This time they came out ahead. Mickey is caught on the arrow, but they're just going to get some more poke damage. Yeah, not a whole lot apparently.
I think we need to re-strategize if you're H2k here, because probably is like fire arrow on cooldown. That's his mantra, and then you get picks. But sometimes, you know, think before you pull the trigger.
Yeah, you definitely got to aim a little bit better than that one.
I mean, it was great aim. Like he was aiming to hit Mickey.
Oh, I mean the rest of the team. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're off in the back, and they're not getting a whole lot done. But yeah, Freeze
his aim was solid.
Ultimate.
It was just the wrong time to fire.
And as it stands, they can't get anything more from it. Still, 3,000 gold lead for H2k, trying to march down the mid. It's Ryu. 2-man Hemo Plague on to Kabi and Mickey.
Yep,
Jankos, he's around the side. They burn him down. Stranglethorn's up, and they just don't care about towers. Even more for Ryu, even more for Freeze. Trashy will get some revenge, but not enough. H2k come up big. And
probably knows.
Yeah, he does.
That's where if you do that in solo queue, somebody in alt chat goes like, "Nice champ, by the way." It's just stupid. This is why this champion should just be banned or heavily camped in lane.
And Ryu knows it. He doesn't care about your tower damage. He's a Vladimir. This is going to be a tower falling. Senkuk's trying to make the miracle defense, but there are way too many people here. Why is he even sticking around? Look at how low his health bar's going.
Yeah, they're trying to buy time, slowing down the double tower push here, but it's incredibly hard for Splyce to crawl out of this hole. This triple tank lineup works well if Kaba can kind of go untouched, but as we saw, we talked about in champs, like, next flash Ryu has, he do the same thing, and he won't need the help from Jankos to finishing him off. Like, look, so what can Kaba do realistically here? It's one full spell rotation and a couple of hits from Jankos. And then beautiful combo here from Vander, though. He's really putting in his weight, too.
Yeah. Oh, I said the Gragas got revenge. It was the tower that did most of the work. So Jankos gave his life for that effort. It definitely was well worth at the end of the day.
Seems to have a lot to say today.
Yeah,
Jankos
very vocal. He's had a lot to do this game, that's for sure. So, Barons hit the Rift. We've got an Ocean Dragon. You know, H2k, they're not powerful enough to maybe take this Baron down solo, but they can start getting the vision set up around it. Or do they now focus a bit more on the Ocean Drake, get themselves a little bit of extra power?
They're probably just going to, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to predict it, Pyra. Jankos is literally...
Oh, wait, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I predict that H2k's next objective is the Ocean Drake. Yep, there they go.
Me to it. All right, so pretty easy take. Now the question is no longer a question.
Yeah, we saw something right there. The hawk shot from Freeze is definitely helping too. Splyce are making some almost like desperate pick attempts, and every time they hide in the brush, Freeze just reveals them with a free hawk shot. So definitely working in their favor, that Ash pick now.
As long as he's able to two-step away from the never move, Jankos is fine. Trading out well with Senkuk's as we settle a little bit in this game. Still a big lead for H2k, but they are taking it the clean and controlled way for now. No need to push too far deep in enemy territory. No need to let Splyce get a chance back into this game. Just squeeze the life out of them.
Squeeze them out. The next one is the Baron, honestly. Base, push in mid, push in top, deep vision red side, deny vision, wait for the inevitable bait into arrow.
Teleport, arrow onto Trashy. Wonder though, he was zoning Otawamne away, but will Splyce be able to get out of the pincer? It doesn't look like it. Trashy's already down. Otawamne still doing work. Double kill over to Jankos, and Ryu might get knocked in, but Kabi way too low. Odo takes a bite out of him, and the rest of Splyce are limping away.
Kabi is not enjoying this game of League of Legends. You have a Ghost Flash Vladimir charging at you. You know full well that he's coming for you. You know exactly what he's going to do, and there is no counterplay possible. You eat the W EQR combo, and you're dead.
And that is going to be H2k on the Baron. Desperate attempt here. Senkuk's, or rather, I should say Wonder, teleporting around the backside, but this Baron is already gone. And that's a boomerang in response, but that is not what you want. Now he's got to get out of there. Keeps trying to zone him. Actually gets a kite away.
Yeah, he's fine walking out, but what is next play here for Splyce? Down 7,000 plus gold at this point.
Very hard to see them coming back into this game, and after such a big game number 1, let's see this again. Teleport flank into the Ash Arrow, and the rest is history.
Big splash.
You can take that, right, Trashy?
Trashy's like, you're supposed to tank these objectives. You're Braum. Put up your shield. Sadly, shield doesn't stop you from being stunned here, and then the follow-up in the backline. Kobe is enjoying a beautiful game of League of Legends.
Yeah.
Wunder's trying to peel, but it's not enough. Odo comes in, finishes up the kill. And then the immediate Baron. Really clean play here by H2k. Good ward somewhere in the backline to get that teleport in from Onowamne. Ball enough time, did not drop. Clean execution, well played.
Yeah, H2k getting right back to the roots, so, you know, dropped a game where they made a lot of questionable decisions, but this is H2k getting back on form.
And then they went back to the Zyra pick.
Yep.
Back to the roots, Pyra.
Oh, wow. I didn't even mean to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's natural.
That happens every now and again.
Got a little bit of freak in you.
Like 10% freak DNA. Just enough to make
Just enough.
puns. All right, we got another Infernal. So obviously we've seen time and time again Jankos can solo these with relative ease. Splyce have to do something because they're just getting choked out.
Yeah, I don't think Splyce care too much about the next Infernal. The game may very well be over before that one spawns.
Yeah, they gotta do something somewhere, whether or not it's on Dragon.
It's so hard right now. This composition does not play well from behind into this team comp.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is inevitable demise for Splyce. I'd be honestly flabbergasted and surprised if they find a way out. So
Flabbergasted, that's a good word.
I love that word.
I should use that more often. All right, well, we'll go back to mid lane. Ryu gets a 3-man ulti, but he gets shut down. Wonder.
That was flabbergastation there.
All right, he bit off way too much there. And that Splyce able to defend for the time being. Still have to deal with Onowamne up top.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there. That's a really good pick off. Vladimir stuck in the silent, probably playing a little bit overzealous, not matched. If you push in without, or if you push in these 3 lanes at once, you really make sure that your lanes are synchronous. But right now, still kill for tower is still a worth trade. So
yeah,
Splyce, they're choosing between bad trades and really bad trades at this point.
And that's when you know you're in danger of losing at just about any moment. It's only 24 minutes, but H2k, they're knocking on the door. They managed to get down a tower, Trundle beating it down, I should say. Jankos, he steps right into 3 Splyce members, and he's able to hop away to safety. Very mobile, though. I mean, with the exception of Freeze, they're able to get in and out really quickly. And Freeze has been staying in very good position this game. He's not really challenged by the big front line.
No, this time he has people creating space for him in these fights. Let's watch this. Probably coming in the kicks. Yeah, this is his Rio. He's going for a ward to make sure that this doesn't happen. It's like, yeah, I really need a ward there. I need some vision, so make sure that 3 people don't collapse on me like this. So that's when you wait for them to show somewhere else before you place that ward. Ryu got caught up in the moment.
Well, mistake from Ryu, but there have been not that many this game.
Nope.
So H2k well on their way to marching down to victory. It'd be the one-on on the series. Obviously disappointing for a top-tier team, but you know, at least they can take solace in the fact that everyone else has done it.
Yes, exactly. So all of the 3 top teams here tied. So
if this game continues as we expect.
Yeah. Let's out of all assumptions that we made today, I think this is one of the safer ones.
I mean, we've been proven wrong on a lot of fronts, but yeah, I think this game 10K in the lead. It's 25 minutes in. They've got every objective. 7 towers to 3. I mean, Splyce are going to need a miracle Gnar ult or something to even win a fight here, and then what can they get? Because they've lost so much ground.
Yeah, they've lost so much ground here. They need another whiffed arrow from Freeze. But he's holding it a little bit longer now. He's thinking.
Taking the time. Making sure he's got them in the sights. Next Dragon, 30 seconds away. Splyce are trying to make a power move down at the front and trying to deny the 1-3-1, but how long can Wonder deal with Odo is the question. Who are they going to send to deal with Ryu is the other.
Yeah, the likely solution is probably just to engage on everybody that's not Ryu and then hope that he doesn't join the fight.
He's got no teleport to burn that Ghost. Jankos is already in position here, but there's the ward down. In comes Ryu. They found Jankos. Oh, what was he doing? Gotta be shopping. In comes the arrow, but it's not gonna connect. Jankos is gone, and Sunkooks gets the kill, but Splyce are caught in Stranglethorns. Now, an Onowamne will get a kill onto Kabi, and Splyce are just melting. A double kill over to Freeze, looking for more, chasing down Mickey.
I mean, the enemy jungler is literally AFK, not noticing there's a ward. You bop him on the head without him using a single ultimate, and you still lose the fight. That's how far behind H2k Splyce is right now, due to a really good early game from H2k. Jankos, oh, he was snoozing. It's a little late here. Probably got hit by the Fnatic OG game. Did not see the ward behind him. Just too focused on the bait.
Luckily, H2k don't seem to need it right now. They're able to knock open the bottom, grab themselves inhibitor number 1. They will get inhibitor number 2. Still some time on the death timers. They can grab it and get out. And 27.5 minutes in, the chances of Splyce coming back in this game are slim. 2-0. Wunder trying to change it, but they've got no follow-up.
Swain's behind them though. This is the play.
Oh, in comes Senkux, but look at his health bar. Ryu says, just kidding, I'm Vladimir once again. Taking out Wunder, looking for even more. Splyce, they run out of gas, and H2k are on the offensive yet again. Trashy trying to save his own life, but the rest of Splyce, there's nothing they can do to try and stay alive. Trashy, the long game. But you can't walk away from the Troll King, not anymore. The base is in shambles. This is gonna be lights out.
Yeah, Autonomous just wants to prevent him from basing so his team at least can finish. That was advantage, keeping away from the minions is great. He drops Splyce, I like it. Just go for a Hail Mary play, otherwise you lose the game anyways. Not much to be done. The mistakes were already made, and H2k was just waiting for the execution.
So after a very disappointing game, a lot of mistakes from H2k, they turn it around, play it clinically, massive lead, and they will close out here to 1-1 with Splyce on the day as soon as they decide to finish padding those stats. 28.5, H2k victory.
Still caught the cameraman by surprise.
After a day like today, well, I guess I'm not surprised. So we get a full day of our favorite
so many
here
ties,
in EU.
Pyra. I
There were
have
so many
never
ties.
felt so European like I do now. Europe's Cup is on. There's so much football being played. Everybody's tying. Oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it here. Even though I'm American, I still feel the EU. It's all around me. And that was H2k stepping up and say, "All right, let's see you do that again."
Yeah.
Not today.
Not today. What have we learned though from the series? Vladimir is strong.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
And Ryu made some serious plays on it too. I mean, you can put a lot of it into like how good the champ is, right? And you can say nice champ all you want, but like Ryu, if you give him the right power, he will step up and do he might not necessarily carry the game for you, but he will make it look like he's carrying the game.
He at least carried this game.
Oh yeah.
Honorable mention to Vander, honestly. Slightly biased here as a support.
Yeah, that's okay.
but definitely
You had
Vander.
your Bard game.
Yeah, had my Bard game. Definitely triggered some people. Crap was talking about Bard again. But Vander, I like the flash he did. He's present in teamfights 3-0-8 in a champion that's notorious for feeding and dying. I think Riot did a great job removing that passive, not rewarding Zyra players for death anymore, teaching them the merits of life. Beautiful, but Ryu showed up, took control of the game from the mid lane axis, and H2k played around that beautifully.
They did what they needed to. And Splyce, despite that loss, despite there was very little they could do in game number 2, they could definitely be happy knowing they took a game off a team in the top tier, you know, and at least made us question putting them, you know, even though they're in the standings, in the middle of the pack, putting them around with everybody else. They do seem to be on a slightly higher level.
Yeah, like the tie here. No, all memes aside, for what it means for the standings, because we have another team that at least can challenge top 3. Top 3 have shown some weaknesses here in Europe, so it does make the grind towards playoffs a lot more enjoyable. So many games left here, so much progression to be made now that we are playing best of 2s instead of just the singular best of 1s here. Definitely excited for the later weeks of the split.
Oh yeah, and once we start to see those rematches as well, it's going to get really interesting to see how people adapt and, you know, double the number of games. It is really so different when you see these teams having to play like double on the day and still prepare for another team the next day around. I'm really, really excited to see how it goes. For now, though, the analyst desk is going to take it away and close out the day for us.
Thank you so much, Pyra. Now, it's us. Now that we've wrapped up our first day of week 4 of the EU LCS, it is time to load up on the post-game lobby, or we can also dub it the mid-lane week lobby today, as we have Febevan here with us still as well. So, first let's take a look at H2k Splyce. You said in the beginning, I don't know which team is better, I don't know how to call it, and I don't know if it was a joke, but it's a 1-on-1 in the end. It is a tie. What did you guys think of this second game? There was a lot of, well, they got Vladimir, so that's very strong.
Yeah, when the Swain died like 2 times, then I know they just snowballed so hard, and I don't think they could really come back. And yeah, I don't know, like they were just getting out teamfighted, getting kited.
Yeah,
and then the Vladimir was making, like, killing everyone.
Not only that, makes it even more difficult when the opposite team's so far ahead, they end up buying like Executioner's Calling on the jungler, and suddenly Swain actually can't do anything. What were your thoughts on Ryu in this game? Because he seemed to do a whole lot of work for H2k.
Yeah, with Vladimir you can just sit under the enemy tower all game, so that makes your jungle be able to do anything he wants. Like he can just invade all the time, like we did when I had Vladimir today as well. And yeah, and then it's just unkillable. Like you cannot really gank that guy because he can always escape, and then yeah, he just outscales.
So I feel like a lot of our segments here, mid lane week, involves Vladimir
Yeah.
and involves Broken or something like that. Is it just perm ban? Like,
Yes, I think it should be permabanned. People are trying to leave it open in scrims and in LCS, but I don't know what is the win rate at the moment on this champion, but
pretty high.
it's just too OP, I think.
Pretty high. I think the only time we're releasing it through is that situation. And, you know, we were talking about, you know, if a Swain gets ahead, he can carry. If Vlad gets ahead of Swain, it's super tough. So I think really the only times we're going to see it is when both are up, you can take one, trade away the other, whoever gets the lead. It's just going to win the game, seemingly.
The thing is, like, when you practice champions in scrim, like, you open Vladimir and you play, like, Rise into it, it's not like you're gonna farm up for team fights, like, for 30 minutes. So it's like mostly the games are, like, decided by early game, and then it's really hard to judge, like, which champion is actually better in team fight, because the games are so one-sided, so it means that it's not, like, even, so you can actually see, like, which champion is clearly better.
But isn't that the big problem for Europe right now? Because we had Freeze on the desk saying exactly the same you just said now, that in scrims in Europe, there's so many kills early game, so many fights early game, and then teams like at 20 minutes is like FF, or like it's like the game is just lost already. So you don't probably get to test these champions and practice macro. Like, isn't that just a big problem overall for you?
Yeah, I think that's a really big problem, because it makes me and my team question a lot of stuff, like which champs should we prioritize, like, really high, which shouldn't, and then maybe one scrim block you win 5 games in a row with one champion, and then the next time you lose. So, and then when you play on LCS, you win and lose. Like, it's just, you really have to theorize yourself, like, which champions are really good, and you have to understand, like, comps against comps, and yeah, it's you cannot just say, like, this champion is OP because we won in scrim. And it's maybe not even because of the pick, it can be because of your team winning. So.
Which, funny enough, is something we actually saw quite a lot of this week.
Yeah.
Like picks like Hecarim that have done really well in scrims. Kha'Zix was one from Fnatic. We keep hearing from some players, not going to say any names, that like Swain is super broken, and then suddenly he shows up and he gets camped early game and he does absolutely nothing, because that's the problem with Swain. Like, he's a snowball champion. And in a scrim, with what you're describing, you will have these games where you get 2 or 3 early kills on him, and then he looks fantastic. But then you pick him now, and you get camped early, and then that's it.
Froggen also sent a tweet out today. There's so many good picks mid lane now. It's kind of hard to decide what to pick. Do you? Is that a difficulty for you personally? The fact that there's a lot maybe that you don't know is OP, and how do you try and work through that?
No, I think I understand mid lane pretty well. I can play most of the champions, and I think right now mid lane can do a lot. Like, you can play for your team, you can play to be a really big threat in team fights. You can maybe even try to play early game composition with an assassin, but mostly people are playing, and I think what is the best right now is just control mages, and maybe sometimes a Rise with TP, or so you can give pressure to your team.
Yeah, I definitely say from watching not only Europe, but like also a lot of Korea when it comes to the picks. Like Vladimir, Azir, Victor are like the S tier picks.
Yep.
And then everything under that, there's like this big bubble of like, oh, do I need to play an assassin? Then like LeBlanc can be picked. Do I need like a mid-game split push? I can go Rise. Do I need some engage or whatever, you know, there are different picks you can go for. There's some counter picks like Varus as well that needs to be considered. So there's this massive, massive group, and that's probably what Froggen is talking about.
Yeah.
That's great, though.
Yeah, it is.
And not only that, there are also matchup-specific picks. You've got like the Vel'Koz we've seen into the Azir. We've seen Anivia come out. Well, we've seen it more and more. Like, we've seen it this week in LCK. We saw it come out. I mean, there are a lot of matchup-specific picks as well, and I think that's what Froggen's alluding to, is like, to have every matchup ready, I think is a very tough thing for a player right now. But Febby, you sound confident. You say you understand mid lane. So let's see if we got anything fun to pull out in a matchup.
We'll see. And also, Froggen, if you're watching, just tweet at us and stuff as well. Okay. Player of the game for Splyce versus H2k is Jankos, as we asked it on the desk as well. And you were saying he actually had a pretty good time because of the Vladimir mid to come there and then do some things. But What do you think of Jankos? If you play against him, are you always afraid he's going to try and get that first blood on you? Or
Yes, actually, when I play against Jonkos in solo queue, he I actually played against him yesterday, and he's the only jungler who level 3 ganks me after red buff. So he takes 3 camps and then he just flashes on me and then I'm dead. So, but I think he's a pretty good jungler, and his decision making is really he makes you think a lot. Like he does things that you don't expect and things that other players don't do, and then it can snowball.
You realize you just gave away how people beat you in solo queue, right? You just basically told everybody playing jungle to camp in from level 3.
I never get level 3 ganked, and after that I just always hug top side. So when I'm against Giant, because I'm never hugging bot side again. When
okay, that message is sent out. Let's talk a bit about your series, a bit more OG versus Fnatic. It was our match of the week as well, and of course we went into it thinking that maybe it would be kind of a walkover for Fnatic, and game 1, that was the case.
I mean,
game
honestly,
1 it was.
Yeah,
game one I had Vladimir, so.
Yeah, okay, so...
basically that Vladimir's the one. No, but I actually think game 1 was how this game was supposed to look. Very often in the EU LCS, a lot of players will go like, you know, a lot of teams are even, and it's unfair to say one team should like beat the other like that. But honestly, I think it was disappointing that Fnatic didn't 2-0 here, even though we have Febiven now on the desk, not to offend you or anything, but...
He agrees.
No, I agree.
Febiven, was there maybe overconfidence going into game 2? How you performed in game 1?
Yes. Definitely.
Well, I guess that answers that, because this game went
I played a really bad second game.
But like,
shit happens. Shit happens. Look at my face.
Yeah. No, but it's the first thing you said. You said, hey, it was my fault. I got caught out a lot. And very unfortunate in that one. And I think Perks on the desk also said, well, this is going so long now. OG should have closed it out 20 times already, and it's still going. So the door must have been open for Fnatic. But it's so hard when those... Yeah,
sure. Of course, it gets really hard late game. No one wants to make a mistake. OG were super afraid of like pushing. Like they would actually get a kill, and you were like, okay, now they're gonna push in with super minions. And then they're like, one guy would get chunked, they recalled instantly, and then just ran away. I just feel like every time a game goes past like 55 minutes to an hour, it's because the teams are doing something wrong. Like it's never because both teams are just playing perfect and they just keep matching each other like till like 80 minutes and then suddenly the game ends. It's always something where one team falls super far behind, or they have a composition that maybe can't properly deal with like an Azir in the late game as an example, and then they just can't do anything, and the other team is too bad at closing the game, and then it just keeps going and going and going.
What do you think?
Yeah, the thing is, in that game we didn't really have any control, because we were basically in our base all the time because they had so many inhibitors. So I think if we were in their position, we would have closed it like way earlier, because I think they just played really safe for no reason.
In any case, it did give us a lot of records that were broken. We had, first of all, a very, very long game time, an EU record in 80 minutes and 28 seconds. We had 858 CS for Reckless, which is a global CS record. We also had Febiven in second place. Then we had 4,845 minions killed, the most in the EU LCS, and 299,000 total gold, most in EU LCS, as well as 15 inhibs.
And like, you want to be proud when you get an achievement like this.
But you have to look at the silver lining.
Yeah, but this is like, congratulations, you actually had a real long game that was in a way bad, and now you won all these awards. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was still interesting.
It was exciting in the end.
It was. I mean, it's exciting, and we wanted to track all these things. We also wanted to track something else. Actually, we talked a lot about the OP strat of the ZZ Rod as a 6th item of BioStar, and we wanted to take a look at a little replay.
Good idea. It's really good, actually.
Good idea. I'm gonna do it.
What?
So, buy
put zero then. It's so funny.
Wait, what do you sell?
Just sell and buy your game. Just put zero then sell zero.
Yeah. Buy your game.
Yeah.
You're a genius.
Really funny.
Still laughing then.
I like how this is their...
I was surprised.
The 75-minute communication on a pro team is laughing and laughing.
I wanted to cry.
But how do you keep a level head? Or do you think you did? Keep a level head or a good mental?
Yeah, I think it's impossible to just let yourself go and just like tilt yourself in the game and just lose it. I think everyone was focused until the end, and even though we're joking around, I don't think it's a bad thing.
yeah, in the end, cool that we had that listening, but I'm not going to say this is always the Fnatic communication.
Just laugh.
Just
Tell
laugh.
your eyes
Just
and
laugh.
Spice easy rod every time.
I wish I could explain how tilted Perks got up here watching that happen when he was like, wait, you can do that?
That's
Why?
not fair.
That's so broken. This
Why?
item is insane. He's like, you can't do that. I don't get it. It's so tilted.
No, very long game though. And now let's take a look at the standings after that at the exact halfway point of the summer split already. Whoa, the top 3 remain the same, but
Wait, don't we have one more game?
Are, well, 4.5, and it's 9 weeks, right? So
How
that's
that
the
works.
half official.
You're right.
Yes. Anyway, G2 Esports is in first, Fnatic in second, H2k in third, so that is still remains unchanged. But I want to take a look at that middle. Schalke, Splyce, Giants there in the middle of the table. Origin and Unicorns of Love still all the way at the bottom. But I think we talk about it a lot, but I think it's really, really commendable that teams like Giants and Splyce, they're finally turning it around.
We were really worried about Giants the first couple of weeks, but now that it's settled, we realize that strength of schedule is kind of a thing. Giants hit a lot of tough opponents in the first couple of weeks. I'm not saying Giants are a top of the table team, but what I'm saying is perhaps they look more middle of the table than we gave them credit for in the first couple of weeks.
I just think this whole middle of the table, bottom right now, it's just such a pointless discussion almost because
That's
we
fair.
have 7 teams
Actually, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
who are just like so close in level. Okay, I'll probably put like Splyce and Schalke slightly above the other 5, but it's not enough for me to say they're going to 2-0 them every single time. It's only like Fnatic, H2k, and G2, I would say, have looked better overall. And yet this week, G2 played 1-1, you guys played 1-1, and we just saw H2k play 1-1. So we just have this massive pile of teams smacked together right now where no one is clearly that much better than anyone else.
Yeah, it doesn't really say much at all. Like this kind of games, like I don't think like it's just practice right now. That's how the teams see it, and there's so much change still coming into the playoff.
Does it bother you that people then go, wow, EU is really bad, we're not going to do anything at Worlds this year? Does that bother you?
I really don't care.
I mean, you may not care, but I think for me, like, they're close because of mistakes. They're not close because this is high-level league that's coming out of these teams. Like, you look at Roccat, disastrous early games. You look at Unicorns, they can get a lead in the early game and then just lose it completely. So for me, it's just every team has so many different mistakes they need to fix that right now everybody's taking games off each other and just getting ties in the middle of the
But
pack.
it's the same in every region right
That's
now.
fair. It is fair.
And like the only thing that tells me about this whole EU stock right now kind of thing is the fact that people, because it's the circle jerk now, everyone will just jump on it and be like, they watch a game and they go, huh, I didn't see February go 10-0 and win the game in 25 minutes. So I'm going to ride, yeah, this game was really low level, EU is bad. I'm like, you can't say it for every game. Like, that's not how it works. And yeah, you can, I agree. I don't think Europe is like a fantastic region right now. I think around playoffs, a lot of the teams will improve a lot, like they always do. But a lot of teams around the world struggle in every single region.
So do these opinions come from? Reddit people or?
I mean, maybe it's my secret Reddit account I'm sitting on and like writing. But yeah, no, it's stuff. It's just overall community opinion when it comes to like a region being weak. A lot of people will then always have that mindset instead of actually judging themselves if they think. And it's also super hard to judge like a match in Europe, or middle of the pack match in Europe compared to a middle of the pack match in NA. Like a lot of it is the same anyway when it comes to the mistakes being made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying.
And we swear we don't read it all.
Real talk.
Never, don't read any of it.
Yes, we do. We also read your tweets. And earlier in the show, we asked you guys to tweet us your burning questions for our resident mid laners. From @TonyWeber97 asked, Febiven, which champ are you crushing on that Perks is really bad with? He's not here anymore. But is there any champion without, like, you know, giving away any strats, but that you're like really good at and he's not very good at?
Maybe Azir and Victor.
Maybe just the two best champions.
Maybe Victor. I think I'm a better Victor than him.
Okay.
Who's the best Zed before he got nerfed to the ground?
I don't think there was much. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. But like how many months do you?
Let's go like last split.
I think I was a better player overall, so I guess that makes me a better Zed.
Do you think you were a better player overall than you are now? How do you feel about your own performance?
I think I'm actually worse than last split because You mean last split or last year as well?
Last split and last year.
I don't know. Like the meta has changed so much, and like we are playing different. We're trying different play styles and stuff, and I think I'm doing a lot of random mistakes because maybe I'm overconfident or something like that, or getting caught for no reason all the time, and I don't know. I just need to take it more serious and like really try hard to become better.
Do you actually feel right now? I know we're firing a lot of questions just straight your way here, but it's very interesting to hear your opinion of like mid lane, because we obviously had a discussion during some of the games about the impact of mid lane right now. Like, do you feel that mid laners are able to, I'm not saying 1v9 the game, but like have a massive impact and just be the main carry? Or are we just 100% stuck in the meta where it's teamwork, like it's every player, every role has to do a lot to win? Or do you feel like mid laners can still really just be the big carries if you're playing a fantastic game?
Yeah, I think mid laners can still, like everyone should always like try to play as perfect as possible, obviously. But there is some champions right now where you can really hard carry with, like Azir, Victor, and Vlad. They have the most damage output. And then you have champions with teleport, like Ryze, Lissandra. You can also make plays on, like you can coordinate your team and you can help your team out. And then you have champions like Zillion and Varus and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's just you can play everything, and I think with the hard carry champs, you can make your team play around you, which makes you the main carry. But sometimes you just have to adapt in the champ select and play around your team, and then you just play around your team, and then your teammates should carry the game because you're adapting. So I think everyone should play everything which is good in the meta, and then yeah, you just have a 5-man threat team.
All right, well, we'll see how that evolves. We got another question from @xthemurf. He's reached out to the post-game lobby for advice. He asks, what can I do when I fall behind in lane and my opponent out-roams me? So let's take it, this is not in the LCS. So you're just yourself in a game. So you don't really know what the opponent's going to do, obviously. Well, you never know, but what would you do?
Wait, what would I do if I was getting out-laned and then...
And he goes roaming.
I would just tell my team everything that he can do and just ask for wards, and then yeah, always tell my team what the opponent can do and what I can do to stop any action.
Yeah, one thing a lot of mid laners will always try and do if you are like losing the lane is try and focus just on pushing your wave, because like if you can always keep him in lane because you always push the wave and he has to like farm it and pick it up.
That's very basic.
I know it's very basic. I know it's very basic, but like when it's something people in ranked like often don't understand. They're like, I'm behind, so I'm gonna try and like outplay him and all in him and see if I can get a kill. And that's obviously the absolute worst you can do. Like, don't even try to do that. Instead, water your lane, you know, push out your wave, and then again, super basic, but like communicate.
I have no money. Why
team.
do I have to spend it on something that's not an offensive item?
You have a trinket. You can click it, click, and you can place the ward. And then just you need to communicate. I know it's basic, but I think that's the kind of things a lot of people forget when they play alone, and then they just end up like doing it even worse and die like 3 or 4 extra times.
That's worse.
I like how he's gesturing at me the entire time for that. It's okay. I learned something. It may be basic. I always thought it was just flame your team and rage quit, out F4 and you're out. No?
Okay. We're almost done here. Febivin, if you had to give one word of advice for someone who wants to play mid lane in ranked, what is it?
Just play Aurelion Sol, Twisted Fate, and Talilia, and just perma push and perma roam, and then you will get some elo.
Very basic.
Great.
Very basic.
No.
Pushing in there and then it's roaming.
No, but that's really how you get elo, and that's still how some challenger players play, which really annoys me because I'm practicing my my mages, and then I'm basically stuck in mid, and then these guys are just killing my team, and then these people will write in chat like, you're getting out-roamed and stuff. And then, yeah, you can get a bit salty sometimes.
You just push the wave back. It's easy.
And then hug your tower.
Yeah, and then of course.
And then your team dies.
Great stuff. All right, let's take a look at tomorrow's schedule. Week 4 of the EU LCS continues then as Giants take on Schalke. Roccat will battle it out against Fnatic, and we'll close out the day with Splyce versus Origin. Roccat up versus Fnatic. I believe they had a 1-on-1 versus Unicorns of Love today, and their problem has been the early game in this split. How do you think you can do against them?
I think we can do pretty well against every team. It just depends on how many silly mistakes we make. And I think we're always, like, I think we're a stronger team than them for sure. So I don't think we should lose against them.
I'm looking forward to casting that game tomorrow, but I'm kind of off the Rocket hype train. I'm sorry. I know weeks 1 and 2 I was saying I like their drafts, I like their plays. Early game's too weak right now, I think. So interesting series, but I think it's probably going to be Fnatic's way.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Tomorrow's pre-game coverage will begin at 5 p.m. Central European Time, summertime rather, and 8 a.m. Pacific. Febiven, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure and a lot of fun, and also thanks to all the players that will be joining us and have joined us for the show during mid lane week. We'll see you tomorrow as we continue to celebrate the region's legendary mid laners, and week 4 of the EU LCS continues. Good night.
So you push it out?
Your mouse is